Ta-da!
Everybody, and I beg your pardon. Am I being barracked already? Welcome once again to Down to Hell. And look, everybody, Mr. Tom Savini is in the house.
Shouldn't there be two images here?
What are you not seeing?
I'm seeing you. Oh, I see me up in the top.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Why do you want to see you?
That's the extent of it. Okay.
It's bad enough that I have to look at you. You don't have to as well. Welcome, Tom.
Well, thank you.
How are you?
Hello again.
I just had dinner with you 2 nights ago.
Yes, and a few nights before that as well.
That's right. That's right.
Which was the first time we'd been in an enclosed space with each other since May, I think, wasn't it?
We ate outside in summer.
Yes.
What was that place that we ate outside at? What was that called?
It's called the Wooden Nickel.
That's right. That's right.
It's a very nice place. Nice place, that.
They should give us free food now.
Old fashioned.
I highly recommend D'Annunzio's, where we've been twice last week. Yeah.
D'Annunzio's is good.
Yeah.
You know what I realized coming home? I never got my coffee. Or I didn't touch it. They either brought me the coffee and I didn't drink it because I was too enraptured with our movie idea.
Which is
tiramisu.
Tiramisu.
That was Cartman's. I hope he's not here. I hope he's not listening to this.
Oh, I hope he's writing the script as we speak.
Oh, I'm sure that was done a long time ago.
I realized, like a day or two afterwards, I think I never got my wedding soup.
Oh, you didn't?
No. So if anyone's listening from D'Annunzio's, next time
they are enraptured by this conversation.
Yeah, we're driving home. Like I didn't drink my coffee. I didn't drink it, or I didn't get it. I don't know. The dessert was good.
Oh,
the meal was good.
Where did that appear from, Tom?
Somebody gave me that at the convention.
Oh, right. Yes, I have quite a few of these, but not immediately to hand. So we will as always take questions off the chat as we go along, and I will, as usual, invite anyone who's with us from the UK or further afield. Last time we were on, we had people in Australia with us, and we usually have quite a few people from the UK, where it is now after 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. Somebody in
Scotland.
Can you see the name of the person from Australia?
I mean, only screen name, so.
Okay.
Don't know.
Lena Lovecraft, was it?
I don't know. I think she may have been.
Was she the Australian one?
Possibly, she may have.
The Australian one.
The Australian one.
The Australian creature.
Hey, I'm married to an Australian one.
Australian.
Tom is married to an Australian.
A lovely Australian.
Very lovely Australian. Who's going to Australia soon, right?
Yeah, 22nd.
Right.
Lana Lovecraft is the Australian.
Ah.
You're a token Australian, Lana.
And you say Lana, I say Lena.
Lana. Potato.
Let's call the whole thing off. Well, welcome back, Lana. Good to see you again. So if anybody's got any questions, Steph and the lovely Archangel David will be keeping an eye on that. Tom Savini texted me at 8 minutes past 6 this morning.
You were supposed to see that when you woke up.
Well, I did. I didn't see it until I woke up, but it was still time stamped 6:08 a.m.
Oh, so you saw that? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Tom has a very nasty habit of getting up stupidly early and texting people. And at 8 minutes past 6.
It's actually my bladder that wakes up.
Right.
Then it forces me out of bed, yes.
And forces you to text people.
Well, I have ideas. I got to send them right away,
Okay.
But I read something after that, about JFK that's not under.
I haven't. I was going to make the point that the reason Tom was texting me at 8 minutes past 6 was to discuss the recent dump of files. They always say dump.
Declassification.
File dump.
But it was only Tom's bladder, not his bowels, that were moving him out of bed. But of supposedly previously classified documents out of the National Archives relating to the assassination of President Kennedy, about which Tom and I are both nuts. Now, I want to stress that I am strictly an amateur, and I have quite a healthy collection of books and stuff on the JFK assassination, but I am dwarfed by Tom's library on the subject, up to and including, and because we were just discussing before we came on air that Tom suddenly can't find it. He actually owns a Mannlicher Carcano rifle, the weapon
and it's missing.
Oswald allegedly used. So now not only is the president's brain missing, but the president's murder weapon is also missing. But I made the observation in my reply to you that, to me at least, it didn't seem like any kind of a surprise that the dump of files that they've made, that's very bright,
you're smart,
was basically a damp squid. I mean, they're making a big deal out of stuff like it supposedly revealing that Oswald was in contact with a KGB agent about a month before the assassination, but this was already
that's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. That's common knowledge, I thought.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well, but you had an interesting reason, something about a coup d'etat. Well, I found it interesting. What again did you say?
I said, we should not be surprised. This was really only done because Biden had set a deadline of the 21st of this month to release stuff out of the archives. But this keeps happening. Trump came into office promising a massive release of archive material, classified material, and it didn't happen. And it seems to me that presidents get told, we can't do this, because if you have successfully carried out and successfully covered up a coup d'etat, which, in my humble opinion, there's absolutely no doubt was what happened in Dallas, you're not going to admit to it, ever.
Well, but that doesn't mean the declassified files are people admitting to it. There must be some, there could be some inter-office memos with LBJ or whoever that could shed some light on this thing, I think that's what we're all hoping. But I thought if you watch the movie JFK, he says something about the massive declassification of files in 2029. Do I have that right?
Is that they slapped a 50-year embargo on things, I think.
Well, it's 58 now.
Right. Yes.
Well, that's why I'm staying healthy.
Yes.
But it seems like every time they build up to something, they put a date on something where they're supposed to release something, some sort of earth-shattering, memos or files, and then something happens, or they come out and it's literally all redacted and blacked out.
Yes. Well, supposedly, if they're released as previously classified documents, they will be unredacted.
Right. That's
why they're not going to release the document that says, Joe Bloggs did it. But I've been watching JFK Revisited, Oliver Stone's new documentary.
Where is that?
It was Showtime.
I looked on Showtime, and I even talked it in there, and it wouldn't come up.
Right.
I'm going to have to.
They have, and they brought it up on screen, so it's there. The original autopsy notes, noting, or at least I can't remember now whether it was autopsy notes or notes from Parkland Hospital, where it is typed that the president had a wound in his back.
And but 8 inches below the collar.
And that, well, no, the wound is lower. It's around his
lower than 8 inches. Okay.
Area than the shoulder blade.
Yeah.
They moved it.
Yes.
5 inches up.
Yeah.
Which they had to, because otherwise the bullet is coming in through his back and then it's doing that to come out through his neck.
Because they wanted to say that the back wound
before it
was
does
the
that,
exit wound in his neck that hit Conley. The wound in his neck was a bullet hole, and that's what they performed the tracheotomy in. There's four things. There's four things.
What I was going to say about this note that says a wound in his back, they show it doctored, apparently by Gerald Ford, where it says a wound in and the crossed out.
Right.
And it's then handwritten above it so that it reads that he had a wound in the back of his neck.
Yeah, because they had to give credence to the magic theory.
Yes.
But listen, there's four things that people aren't aware of. You and I both know about the movie Executive Action. We know about the Saturday Evening Post cover that said 3 assassins killed Kennedy. Yes. And we know about In the Shadow of Dallas, the book about all the witnesses that were killed. But the other thing is the book that the doctor who performed the autopsy wrote. One of the sad things about that book was that Mrs. Kennedy's roses wound up in the bucket on the floor underneath his head, where his head was draining. To the doctor, that was a very sad thing to see those roses thrown in that bucket down there. But he describes all that stuff. The wound in the neck that he performed the tracheotomy that made it look like an exit wound.
Which the wound in the back, they didn't know at the autopsy. They didn't know that it wasn't a tracheotomy wound because they had not contacted
the second autopsy, the one they did in Washington.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
The first one, the one in Dallas. Yes.
The people carrying out the autopsy at Bethesda had not contacted the surgeons at Parkland to compare notes with them.
Right.
So well, there's this tracheotomy, and they assume it's a tracheotomy.
Yeah.
And they don't bother to. So the autopsy notes from from Bethesda make no mention of a bullet wound, be it entrance or exit, in his neck, because they didn't know any different, because they weren't doing their job properly.
Right. They didn't know. They weren't experienced. They weren't experienced in gunshot trauma. The Bethesda people.
Well, Cyril Wecht, who I know is a hero of yours, great hero of Steph's. He's, what's his official title in Pittsburgh?
Well,
he
was forensic pathologist. Chief medical
coroner.
Examiner.
Yes.
Chief medical examiner.
He is.
Forensic pathologist.
He's brilliant on the subject of the autopsy. I mean, he basically says if there was an object lesson in how not to carry out an autopsy, this is it. And
the most important autopsy in the history of autopsies.
Without question. And he makes the point that they had the top forensic pathologists in the country within easy reach, a phone call away from where they were at Bethesda, in DC, in New York, in Boston, in Philadelphia, etc. Any one of whom would have cleared their desks to be at Bethesda to carry out this autopsy. None of them called, and none of the individuals who did carry it out were actually qualified to do it. None of them had done a murder case before. They didn't know what they were looking for, but they were all military guys.
Right.
I think that's important as well, because there's military top brass in the autopsy room where they had no right to be giving orders.
Are we in trouble now? Are we in trouble yet? Is someone going to knock on our door?
Yeah.
And then it's Cyril Wecht who gains access to the National Archives, and he goes through everything, and he says, I'd like to see this one item. I think it's 399. I'd like to see that one, the president's brain. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, well, can you tell me where it is? We don't know. It was inventoried into the Kennedy family's possessions. Everything went to Jackie. Then she turned everything over to the National Archives. It was inventoried into the Kennedy family's possession, not inventoried into the National Archives. The autopsy has apparently weighed his brain at 150 grams, which is heavier than the average weight of a male brain, which is about 133 grams. And this is a brain that's just, as we all know from watching the Zapruder film, been shot to bits. As Jackie's got it all over her brain matter all over her dress, and she's trying to retrieve bits of his skull off the back of the car. And apparently, mysteriously, Kennedy's brain not only didn't lose weight in the process, but managed to gain weight.
Metal fragments.
So they clearly just stuck a number in at the autopsy for,
It's
the brain was put apparently in as should be done, and West says that was quite appropriate, put in a jar of formalin or something to preserve it, but it was never sectioned, which is one of the most important things that you can do,
Well, that and tons of other I can't think of the minutia. Yeah.
Yes.
We could go on and on about every bit of it, but
yes.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
our chat will probably.
You think we're going to drive everybody away? All
totally.
Right. Okay.
I saw someone ask if you were involved in any of the new Chainsaw stuff that's coming out, Tom. Are you?
Like the video game? No.
I don't know. What is coming? Did I hear there was some kind of prequel or sequel or something coming out?
Well, there's something happening on television. Some
TV series.
Maybe that's what
everything's
it is.
a TV series now.
I heard today, and this really irks me, that Wilmer Valderrama, who I like, I've worked with him many times, is going to be doing a TV series. He's going to be Zorro.
Oh.
You got to jump on my agent about being the villain in that thing. I'm a tournament fencer. I was going to be in the original Zorro when Rodriguez was directing it.
Right.
But I need to be in that show.
We start a petition.
But not to know.
Yes.
No, there's actually a Texas Chainsaw video game coming out by the same guys who did the Friday the 13th video game.
Right.
I did another video game, and I was just told I shouldn't talk about it. So
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
get yourself in trouble.
I'm slightly in the same boat.
Yes. Shush.
Moving on.
Yes. I can't find the specifics of that question because chat's going pretty quickly, but I'm looking for a question. Oh, someone says Chapo Trap House just interviewed Oliver Stone.
Oh, right.
I guess that's a podcast.
Yes.
Chapo Trap House podcast.
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Interviewed Oliver Stone.
Okay.
Yeah. How about your favorite kill that you've created, Tom? I see that asked several times here.
And that person is specifically referencing Kevin Bacon getting an arrow through his neck on Friday the 13th.
Well, that was a pretty good one. Yeah. It is one of my favorites, but I've got a few favorites. They're all my children. All these people that I've killed. Yeah, with the effect I'm talking about the magic trick. Those are my children. The magic trick involved in killing people. Tearing Tasso's head off in Day of the Dead. Tearing Joe Pilato in half. Let's see, the helicopters in Dawn. My favorite.
When you're presented with that, excuse me. When you're presented with that in a script, so effectively the director, says, okay, I want a big close-up of somebody getting shot through the neck with an arrow, or I want to see this character's head ripped off at the neck. What's the process by which you step yourself through, firstly in presumably visually in your imagination, and then practically, because of course, to remind everybody, as always needs to be done, most of your work was done pre-CGI, when everything was handmade and real time. So step us through that process of finding solutions to make the impossible actual.
Well, I think all of my stuff was pre-CGI. My stuff is happening right in front of you, like American Werewolf, Rick Baker's transformation. That was happening right in front of you. No CGI. So it's happening right in front of you, just like my stuff. But you're lucky if the script is explicit enough. Sometimes And like in the case of Creepshow, when they described Fluffy, it said, we see a blur of fur and teeth. That was it. So right. I did a bunch of sketches, had artist friends do sketches. We gave them all to Stephen King and George Romero, and they picked one of mine. So that's why Fluffy looks the way he does. But sometimes sometimes the script isn't full of all the effects that appear in the movie. On Friday the 13th, I think the Kevin Bacon thing is the result of me telling Sean Cunningham, I just did an effect on a guy in a film called Martin, where steak goes in his neck. You know, what if I'm sure we discussed it and created verbally first, you know, the arrow coming through his neck. Well, how are you going to do that? And I explained how, and then we shot it that way. It can only be done from one angle, you know. So the evolution is always, and I strongly recommend this to my students or any effects guys out there. When you get the script and you get the action paragraphs that tell you what happens, that's not it. You must talk to the director about every single effect, and you say, what do you want to see here? And then all you have to do is what the director wants to see. I mean, there might be, in the script it says there's 8 bodies lying on the floor. I talked to the director. He said, oh, no, I only need 2. There'll be a mirror and it'll look like there's more body. Okay, so I only have to create 2 instead of listening to the script and creating 8. So always ask the director what he wants to see. And then, you know, my job is to make him see it, okay? And that's easy in the case of George Romero, because he would let you improvise. You know, we came up with 80% of the kills in Dawn of the Dead. A smaller percentage for Friday the 13th, because some of it was already laid out. But that's it. Ask the director, what do you want to see? And then endeavor to create it.
And then is it a combination of careful pre-planning and spontaneous invention on set?
Sometimes it is spontaneous invention. On Dawn of the Dead, it was certainly that. But it's both of those things. And but mainly, you want to be prepared, so because you have to have, you know, the right materials, the right amount of stuff, you know. How many heads do I have to cast? You know, it's almost like I feel like an assassin. You know, I go strange places and I kill people. You know, would pack up my tools and, you know.
And you're also, I know you're very much a student of stage magic, and particularly the big illusions, big effects. And is that deliberate to bring an element of that sleight of hand?
Yeah. My effects have been described that way, that they are stage magic. I think of them that way. I think of those as magic tricks. My book about effects is called Grand Illusions. I think of them as grand illusions, you know. And it wound up being in my contract that I would direct the scene that my effects are in. Well, at least the effect in the scene, you know. Because you have to, you know, not every director thinks that way. Not every director thinks like a magician or thinks about magic. Well, you need a shot of this. If you want this to work, you've got to teach them sometimes that this is a magic trick, and here's how it's going to have to work if you want to fool people into believing that what they're seeing is really happening.
The thing about magic tricks, I think, is you know, you're not taking your eyes. You don't think you're taking your eyes off of the effect as it's happening, the trick as it's happening, and I think that's where the magic is with a lot of your effects. Like I think of the scene in Maniac. You know, you don't pull away from that. You see everything in that scene, which is, you know, pretty cool.
Well, which one scene?
Yeah, the shotgun scene in Maniac.
Yeah.
And I think most movies up until that point, if they were trying to pull off that kind of effect, you'd see a before and you'd see an after, but you wouldn't see the whole thing happening in front of you. So, which is, you know, much like a magic trick, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And then, you know, I told you I'm reading this book about The Godfather, where he purposely would not put the camera on the action. Like when Paulie gets killed in the car, you're on Clemenza taking a piss in the weeds, and you hear the gunshot. And you come back and he's on the steering wheel with a hole, you know, and the wind blown up. They did a scene though. There was a guy in the back seat with a .22 rifle that was prepared to blow, and he shot through the windshield as if the bullets were going through Paulie, and hitting the windshield. I don't see that in the movie. There might have been a very long shot where they even had a wire attached, a string attached to Paulie's hat. So on the impact, they would pull his hat off as if the impact got his blew,
if not his head off.
And Paulie was worried about the guy in the back seat with the rifle, Yes. And but Francis Ford assured him, no, this guy's an expert. So there must have been a shot where you saw the windshield being shattered, his hat flying off, So, but what's the point? The point is, artistically, as you were saying, Steph, it's almost pornographic in Maniac that they didn't cut away. You see everything. But you're seeing a magic trick being performed to fool you, like a magician does,
Yeah.
And that's where my reputation comes from, that magical aspect of it.
Wait, is this true? Is this true?
What?
Lana says, I heard Tom is a fan of love stories. I'd like to
know
his favorite is that.
I'm a big sucker for a good love story.
What kind of love stories?
I made a list of them. Trapeze, Solaris. Doug, we talked about that.
At dinner, huh?
Trapeze, Burt Lancaster.
I'm a big fan of the original movie, less so of the Clooney remake.
Right.
Anyway, go on.
I don't want to press any buttons on my phone, but I have a list in my notes on the phone of Ben-Hur, a great love story. Ben-Hur, Trapeze, Love is a Many Splendored Thing. These are old movies, and they're not old if you haven't seen them. Remember that. But Solaris, just recently I saw what a great love story that was.
Yes.
I didn't remember it as being so, but now it's strongly on my list.
We're not talking current day rom-coms. We're talking classic.
Yes.
Artistic.
Casablanca, you would put in there, I assume.
Yeah. So the answer is I'm a sucker for a good love story.
Oh.
I've never seen Casablanca. We had that conversation.
We have had that conversation many times, and that's something that ought to be
remedied.
Really, because it's a brilliant movie, I think. That's a very long thing.
Yeah, it is a long thing.
Just wanted to say,
that's very brave of you to read it out loud, cold like that. You have no idea what you're walking into.
Asshole, and why don't you just shut the fuck up? And just learn more about horror. And it's jumping on the screen. You'll have to read it. It's worth reading.
Put the pressure on me. I'm still trying to work my reading glasses. I have reading glasses now, Tom.
Oh boy.
It's a new experience.
Yes, can't get used to it.
What about contact lenses?
I have contacts.
Well,
but now I'm, I started doing that whole thing.
When you run out of arm, then you have to go to reading glasses.
Yes.
Okay, look, I'm wearing lenses right now.
Yeah.
This one's for close-ups. This one's for distance. I can read it.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. It's called Monovision. It's called Monovision. It's a common thing. I can read a phone book and I can watch a movie without any trouble. Not needing.
Well, that means one of your eyes isn't working at any given moment.
Well, why wouldn't one of your eyes not be working?
Because the eye that's corrected to read something.
Oh no. They average
the distance.
Not everybody can average out. I was lucky that I can wear Monovision.
Ah.
This is
Sounds
for
like a monster movie.
It does.
Now in Monovision.
It'll be on a double bill with tiramisu.
Yeah. Because look, I spent my whole life wearing glasses and I hated it because I could never look in the mirror and see the way I really looked without glasses. It was always glasses. When I made myself up every night as King Arthur for Camelot, I couldn't see what I was doing. Yes. Luckily, the beard went on well, So wearing glasses was an anathema to me, which is why I wear contacts now.
Yes. Well, I got contacts in my 20s. You must have had the same experience that I did, because I used to keep my glasses on if I'm talking about doing theater, so I could see A, where the fuck I was going, and B, what the fuck I was doing in the wings, and in particular to be able to see my personal props on the prop table,
right,
pick up before going on stage. And a few times picking up my prop and wandering on stage and thinking, Wow, I can see the audience very. Oh shit! You know, then having to remove the glasses, depending on what period of time the movie was set, you'd get away with it or not.
The famous story that you told me about a famous actor.
It's O'Toole.
Peter O'Toole wore his glasses, right?
He was doing. He did. What was the combination? Was it him and Burton? They or him and Richard Harris? They did a deal that one of them would be directed by Olivier, and one of them would in London, and one of them would be directed by Gielgud in New York. And
it was
O'Toole.
It was Hamlet.
Yes, O'Toole got Gielgud in New York, so he's doing Hamlet, and when he would be revealed for the to be or not to be soliloquy, he was brought up on a trap door, which people not a trap door, on a trap, with people not familiar. You have the stage here, and there's a piece of the stage that will drop down into the bit underneath the wings, and they use that, you know, like it's back to stage effects. If you're introducing a demon king or something in a play, the actor stands on the trap, you'll make an explosion and noise and smoke on the stage, and boom, the demon king has appeared, revealed apparently out of nowhere. But O'Toole would be brought up on the trap, and he said he used to get into place in good time. So 15 and 20 minutes before his cue, he'd be sitting on the trap door. To while away the time until he got his cue, he used to play cards with the stagehands, and he needed to put his reading glasses on so that he could see the cards in his hands. So he's playing cards with the stagehands, and the cue comes, and okay, settles himself, and up he rises, and sets off to be or not to be. That is the question, whether 'tis noble in the mind, etc. And then started to wonder why he could hear people in the audience tittering slightly. And he's thinking to himself, why are they laughing? This is the most famous and maybe the most serious monologue in the whole of Shakespeare, if not the whole of English drama. It's not supposed to be funny. What am I doing wrong? And inadvertently put his hand to his face and found his glasses, which he was still wearing, which apparently were of quite a large horn-rimmed version of glasses, and he's sitting there in his tights and his codpiece, to be or not to being away. And he said he kept them on through the soliloquy, and then Ophelia comes on, and they have their confrontation, and Hamlet has the great line, get thee to a nunnery, go get thee hence. And he said that's the point at which he tore off his glasses, and get thee to a nunnery, and he threw his glasses across the stage at Ophelia. Go get thee hence. So that's the dangers of wearing glasses as an actor. But I've never heard of that before, of having wonky eyes. That makes no sense to me at all.
It's called Monovision.
Monovision.
Yeah, never heard of it.
I shall be Googling.
Tom, somebody said they wanted to say hello to you and tell you they graduated from your school in 2004 and they're still doing makeup and work.
And they want their money back.
but they said playing Leatherface at Terror Mania will always be a favorite memory for them.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Hi there.
Someone's asking, have either of you heard of James Janus from YouTube's Dead Meat? And if so, do either of you plan to collaborate with him? I and many other fans would love it. I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea who that is. So
YouTube is a very dangerous place.
Being unaware.
It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
That's the sign we have in our bedroom
wall. God bless this hive of.
What, your bedroom is a wretched hive of scum and villainy?
And there's his reading chair and the table and lamp, and it's a sign. I'll send you a picture. It's right over top of the chair.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, YouTube is terrible.
No, I meant our bedroom.
Oh, that too,
YouTube as well. Yes.
Yes.
No, I never heard of the guy. I have no idea what he does. And clearly, since Tom and I are both ignorant of his existence, we won't be planning.
Well, I have a lot of friends I haven't met yet.
Yes.
There you go. Yes.
Oh, I heard another YouTube community is completely insane too.
Oh.
Is it cooking? The baking community?
Oh, baking. Oh, I'd believe it.
The knitting community on YouTube is supposed to be a vicious place. And apparently, oh yeah, they say it's terrible. Let me tell you, I have never seen such a fantastical display of personality disorders as I have on YouTube.
Oh, you're going to talk about it?
No, don't do it. No. Because those people are fucking bonkers and they go real life on people. I sit back and watch all these communities interfight and shit, and it is wild.
What do they call it?
The drama community.
The drama community.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like it is. God. Who knew?
Well, the frustrating thing is you and I, Doug, we can't respond the way we would like to, interject comments in there, because we're singled out as all of a sudden it becomes, a famous comment or something. Yeah. Greg Nicotero has the same fate. We can't. It's frustrating when so many times I want to chime in there and tell somebody off, but
no, you can't. No. You have to just sit back and let it happen.
Well, Steph is my attack dog sometimes.
Well, when need be. I generally let things go because a lot of those people want, the attention, but occasionally I will fire off at somebody.
Certainly on Facebook, we've watched this happen. Somebody says something nasty.
You just sit back and let your fans.
My people swarm.
Yeah.
like antibodies in they just attack and circle and destroy, and they
Hey, have you heard from Jeremy Raymer, the guy that wants to do your mural?
Not for a long time.
He just did a really cool Home Alone mural somewhere in town.
Right.
I saw it.
Yeah. So I think he's looking for the spot to do it.
Yeah, we spoke on the phone, and I had sent him reference photos. Again, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about here, among the many things that Tom Savini has become, he has become a Muriel.
A Muriel.
Muriel.
Muriel Hemingway.
No, he's not transgendering. He is a mural, a wall painting. It's a whole gable end. You could Google this, maybe, David, and put up the image if you can find it.
That would be awesome, yeah. The Tom Savini mural.
So it's like the whole gable end of a house in Lawrenceville.
The whole side of the house, yeah.
Yes. And then Jeremy, who painted Tom's mural, contacted me through Tom because he wanted to do a Pinhead mural in Pittsburgh as well. And so we had talked on the phone, and I had sent him reference photographs, and we talked about it, and he was looking for a building.
You and Tom should be next to each other.
Oh,
just like across from each other.
Across the street from each other, waving.
Hi.
There's a hotel close by.
There you go.
That sells mural view rooms.
David's put your mural up on the screen, Tom.
Say that again, Tom.
I don't see it.
No,
you're not looking at Twitch. That's why.
Yes,
it's up on the screen.
So, but other people can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you standing in front of it with the mural.
Okay.
And there's a great.
Oh, but the hotel that's across the street from it sells mural view rooms.
Really?
No shit.
At a discount.
Maybe, I don't know.
And people can see on that image, you can see the windows of the house. There's one great picture where Tom's actually in the window. He was invited. I mean, it's somebody's home.
Is it? It's not a business?
No, it's a residential house, isn't it?
Cool.
He was a fan.
Yeah.
That window.
He invited Tom into the house, and there's a great picture of Tom actually standing at the window waving out of his own head.
I'm coming out of my own mind. That window was 15 feet high from the ground. We had to build doors, junk, sawhorses for me to get up to that window to look out of it.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yes. So I haven't heard from him for quite a while. He was hoping to have it done by Halloween, but I haven't heard anything further from him.
I'll talk to him.
So if anybody's watching who has a house in Pittsburgh with
the ones Doug Bradley
with a pinhead-sized wall
on the side of it.
Yeah, it'll work.
Are there more questions?
I'm scrolling.
Okay.
That goes really quick. It's hard to keep up. But I should have brought my knife collection for show and tell, Tom.
Yes.
Buying me knives.
You have 2 of them now.
3.
3. Oh boy.
Well, there's my very nice Italian switchblade you gave me.
Yep.
Out of your knife bowl.
Yes.
There's also a watch bowl.
You have a watch bowl?
Yeah, your friends, hey, you need a watch? Take one of these, you know. There's a lot of people wearing my watches out there.
I haven't worn a watch in a long time.
No. David, you have to help me fix my Apple Watch.
Oh.
I can do that.
Yeah.
What's the problem with it?
Well, my text alerts don't go away. And so it always says like I have hundreds of messages.
Oh.
Yeah, forgive me while I scroll. David, do we want to talk about Screamio real quick?
Yes, we can.
I think, Tom, you're getting hooked up with Screamio, aren't you?
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
The Cameo, but for horror.
The cool version of Cameo.
No.
Yeah.
So it's Horror Hub's version of Cameo. So it's
I saw a big display.
Horror fans are looking for horror actors. That's the place to go.
Yeah. No, I'm not involved with that at all.
You will be.
Yeah,
well,
it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll pull up a thing on the site too for it.
Yeah, so I mean that is what it is basically. It's just Cameo, but for genre specific to horror.
That's interesting. I should be on that.
Yeah,
and you get a better cut than Cameo. So
yeah, much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hook me up.
Tom, somebody says their dad was a combat photographer for a short period of time in Vietnam. And so they just couldn't do it anymore after a few months. And they wondered how you ended up doing combat photography. And does the experience still influence your work?
Absolutely. I chose it. Back then, if you were drafted, you probably would wind up in infantry. But if you enlisted, you get your choice of schools. I was already a photographer. I already had a dark room, so I chose photography. I must have been good because I did it to stay out of Vietnam. But I must have been good because they sent me right over after school.
What year did you enlist?
I enlisted in 68.
And you were then?
Well, after basic training, I went to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey for 13 weeks of schooling, and then right to Vietnam.
Not to get personal, but so in 68, you're in your early 20s?
Yes, because I wasn't old enough to get married in Pittsburgh. We had to fly to Chicago, where the age limit was different. And I only know that because I got married before going away to Vietnam. But wait, which point? Oh, wait.
In Pittsburgh?
Pardon me?
You had to be 21 to marry in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Well, either maybe it was my wife that wasn't old enough and we had to go to Chicago because she didn't have parents' consent. Okay. So I guess you have to be 21 otherwise. So, but I chose the photography school and then that's how I wound up in Vietnam as a photographer.
And when did you first, you said you were already a photographer. When did that begin? Was that an always interest?
Yeah, well, I was in college. I was a journalism major at Point Park University. And me and friends were avid photographers. We both had dark rooms, and the bathrooms were converted into dark rooms. And those are the days where you had to develop film and then print the film through an enlarger and the paper and 3 chemicals. It was an elaborate process to come up with an 8x10. But so we were avid photography fans and had primitive cameras, 35mm cameras. But that's really it. That's how I wound up as a combat photographer.
But you still had to go through military training.
Of course, yeah. And then after basic training, because you're going to Vietnam, you go to 2 weeks of combat training. You know, my grandson James just did that in the Marines.
Yeah.
And the combat training, that was scary because you're firing blanks at each other, and it's not like paintball. I mean, it felt like you were in a war, you know. That, I guess that was the whole point of it, you know, to think under pressure, you know. So,
and to the specific question about the questioner said that their father couldn't.
Oh, he couldn't take it. Yeah, I mean, I saw.
How long were you there? So
a year.
Yeah, you go in just a full
1 year.
Right?
Yeah, 1 year. But I understand. I know what she's talking about, because I saw horrible stuff. But my mindset is what saved me. You know, we didn't call it PTSD back then, or whatever. You know, but my mindset was, when I was looking through my camera at horrible stuff, was how would I create that? You know, I was looking at the blood color, and that's why afterwards all my effects are anatomically correct. They had to give me the same feeling that I got when I saw the real stuff. So I kind of bridged that gap. I kind of saved myself. I mean, my emotions were definitely turned off. You just had to do that. And they don't just come right back on when you come back.
And
it took years for emotions to come back.
So your job as combat photographer, are you embedded with, well, I don't know what the correct term would be, with a brigade or a troop, and you go with them wherever they go, and your job is to record everything that happens? Or how does that work?
Now, mine was basically in a headquarters camp, and I would go out after skirmishes and photograph damage to machines and people. Not our people, not our soldiers.
Oh.
Viet Cong soldiers.
Okay.
And, you know, they would come in with, pull the pins out of grenades and wrap them in electrical tape and drop them in every gas tank they could find. Helicopters, jeeps, you know, whatever. The gasoline would eventually, you know, would eat through that tape. So there was no telling when, you know, a grenade is going to go off and someone in the gas tank, you know. And so I shot many pictures of helicopters just blown to smithereens. And they're called sapper squads. They come in with just bandoleros full of grenades and drop them into the gas tank. So yeah, my job was the damage to machines and people. But mostly I processed reconnaissance film that the pilots would shoot up in the reconnaissance planes for the military intelligence guys who would examine it for troop movements and things like that. So we were trained in a military processing van, but also go out and shoot those pictures.
So stuff that would nowadays be done by satellites, you were actually taking the aerial reconnaissance photographs.
Right.
Okay, wow. And so you've got this curious kind of feed process going on where you're bringing your pre-existent love of horror into what you're doing as a combat photographer, which helps you, as you said, helps you disassociate from the horror of what you're experiencing and recording in the moment, and that then feeds out into your career as a special effects artist.
Well, it taught me things that other special makeup effects guys aren't privy to, and that is that the blood turns brown, dark brown, after 24 hours.
Yes.
The bodies always have eyes open and mouths flat. It takes a muscle contraction to close the eyes.
Right.
So that's the mistake that many actors make in movies when they're portraying a dead person, you know. They want to look.
That's the advantage of having your eyes closed as a corpse.
Right.
We English actors, if you're laughing inappropriately on stage as an actor, it's referred to as corpsing.
Oh,
I think it's going up in America, right? If you're if you suddenly get a fit of the giggles in the middle of a scene on stage.
Oh yeah, you're breaking character and you forgot your lines. It's called going up. I went up my line.
But it's known as corpsing in the English theatre, and I'm sure it's probably because there will have been, you know, examples where somebody has been killed and they have to lie at the front of the stage,
right, and not breathe,
while the rest of the scene goes on, and theoretically not breathe. But least of all, must you find something that has just happened, probably unscripted, on stage, hilariously funny, and get a fit of the giggles. So that,
well, the worst is I was doing Death Trap and I was killed on stage in the play as the character, and they covered me with a carpet, but they forgot to turn the lamps off on the stage. So when the scene ended, you know, I have to get out from under that carpet and walk off.
Walking corpse. I can see you.
How do you manage that?
Yes. Yes. Wow. No, but I mean, you mentioned PTSD, and of course, back in the day, going back to the First World War, it was referred to as shell shock, and you were shot on sight. You know, there's lots of examples, and in fact, in the UK, they not that long ago, they were handing out posthumous pardons to soldiers who were shot for desertion, who basically were found wandering around in no man's land or behind the front line, just wandering around in a state of, you know, I don't know who I am or why I am or where I am or what I'm doing, because they had been, you know, under aerial bombardment from the artillery for days and days and days, or had been out into no man's land on some kind of sortie and seen all the horrors going on there, and were basically losing their minds. They were shot on sight for desertion in the First World War, desertion in the face of the enemy. And then it was referred to as shell shock. Lots of soldiers were sent back to the UK for rehabilitation. I don't know precisely what term, if any, would have been applied to soldiers coming back from Vietnam. But I mean, did that how successful was your disassociation and your ability to channel your experiences into your work? How successful was that at shielding you from the memories of what you'd seen and experienced when you came back to the US?
Well, I had already shielded myself. Vietnam was a lesson in anatomy, along with other lessons about blood color and, you know, the cadaver countenance, you know. But I wasn't there. I was an emotionless zombie walking around for at least a year and a half or 2 years. It was a movie that snapped me out of it. I think I might have told you the story. You know, I went to see Midnight Cowboy, and when Dustin Hoffman died, I went berserk. I cried hysterically in the theater.
So.
Huh? Yeah. I was the only person, my wife and my friend, ex-wife, were the only persons left in the theater because I was crying uncontrollably.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't just because Dustin Hoffman died. It was all the pent up.
Yes, and
that was the release for it. So from that day on, you know, I could enjoy a sunset or think poetry was beautiful. I was an emotionless zombie before that, and that's PTSD. I mean, I was.
But that experience in Midnight Cowboy lifted it all?
Pardon me?
That experience watching Midnight Cowboy lifted it all for you? Because it's not like it's a big dramatic or violent death. He just quietly stops breathing on the Greyhound.
I've invested a lot of feeling into that character, you know.
Yeah.
And but again, it wasn't the fact that he died in the movie. It was just all that pent up stuff. You know, I mean, it was a great performance, and I was really, listen, I cried when Elvis Presley died in Love Me Tender, okay? I cried when Yul Brynner died in The King and I. I'm probably going to cry when I see West Side Story, the new Spielberg, because he makes me cry constantly, you know? But in reference to what you were saying, think of Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan, when Spielberg expertly captured the shells going off, and the sound disappearing.
That first 20 minutes is amazing. Yes.
He was in another state of mind because of that. He was portraying shell shock, you know. And another great Tom Hanks moment when after the movie where he was Captain Phillips and there was the pirates and stuff, you know, and they kill the pirates.
Yes.
When they bring him back on ship and try to talk to him, he's amazingly not there. I wonder, is he going through mathematical computations? How did he do that? How did he not be there among these people asking him questions? Anyway, great acting, you know, whatever technique he was using.
Do you still struggle with any of that?
No. I never did back then, you know. Never had flashbacks, never had...
That was going to be my next question, because I know that's a joke. Obviously, it shouldn't be the joke.
But I wasn't...
about Vietnam, but, you know, it's a fair question.
I wasn't...
if he ever dealt with any sort of, you know, sort of triggering flashbacks.
No, I wasn't out there in the front lines. I wasn't out there. When those guys came into camp, they were scary. Their eyes, they were dead. You know, the guys who saw the worst stuff possible every day, you know, and fearing for their lives every day. I mean, when I was on guard duty, I remember my whole body shaking. I was so scared. I've never been so scared in my life as if somebody walks out of those woods, they could kill me as a matter of practice.
Somebody dropped your Duck Slayer title in the chat, by the way.
Well, after, but I was off guard duty because of that.
You better tell us the story, because
I'm sure there's lots of people that don't know about it.
Since I came to live in Pittsburgh, and Tom and I have become even tighter friends than we already were. We have, as Tom likes to put it, eaten food in the same room on many occasions, including in...
Don't say the word.
In Chinese restaurants, where one of my favorite things to order...
Don't say the word. Don't say it. When you give away the punch, I can't tell the story now.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
All right, as briefly as possible. When you're in Vietnam, after 6 months, you're allowed to go on R&R, rest and recuperation. Guys were going to Japan. You know, I went to Hawaii and met my ex-wife, but I waited for my 10th month because I didn't want to come back to Vietnam and have 6 months left. So when I came back, they put me on the worst duty possible, 30 days of guard duty. There's the forest, the jungle, there's you. If they come, you're first contact. You're in a bunker with 3 other guys, and there's 7 bunkers, and every one is an arsenal. Great grenade launchers, claymore mines, M16 machine gun. If you saw 1,000 Viet Cong running at you from the jungle, you were not allowed to open fire. You had to call the command bunker. The officer there would come with a night scope, and if he saw them, he would have to call battalion to get permission to open fire. In front of every bunker was a tripwire, which means if you bump it, a flare goes off. If you cut it, it's spring-loaded, a flare goes off. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. We just smoked these huge joints, the best marijuana in the world. And suddenly my trip flare goes off right in front of my bunker. I immediately opened fire with the M60 machine gun. The 3 other guys woke up and they're hitting claymore mines. Trees are getting knocked over. Every bunker in the line opened fire in front of my bunker. And it was a duck. A duck set off the trip flare. So now there's a caravan of headlights coming from battalion to me. And a general got out of the Jeep. I'm looking at his stars, and he's calming me down. Why did you open fire? My trip flare went off, sir. What was it? It was a duck, sir. I said, did you get it? Did you get it? No. We covered every square inch of dirt with a shrapnel, a bullet, something. The duck just flew away.
Oh.
The next time, challenge it, which means, halt, who's there? Wah, wah, you know?
Friend or foe?
So for my rest of my time, they took me off guard duty. Oh, but the next night, we were attacked.
Sounds like the general was unimpressed that you missed the duck. You'd have been okay if he'd hit it.
Did I get it? Maybe he's a hunter, I don't know. But the next night, we were attacked. Guys died in that line of bunkers.
Oh.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there because the duck showed up and got me kicked off guard duty. So as far as I'm concerned, the duck saved my life. And that's why I don't eat duck.
And that's why we are not allowed to eat duck in Tom's presence.
In my presence, yes.
Yes.
And we respect you.
It could be a family, you know.
It could. See, that's how I think about
what you think the ducks might have emigrated to the USA.
They're seeking revenge.
1968?
Because these were Vietnamese ducks after all.
They're seeking revenge. They've been very patient.
Yeah.
No, it was listen, it was a very traumatic.
I can only imagine.
Because I thought of that then. Oh my God, I would have been here. I would have been here with these guys that died in these bunkers if it wasn't for that duck showing up. You know, I think I'm meant to be around for a while.
Good.
Well, if you've read my book, I was almost killed 5 times. That was one of them.
I recommend, I mean, the book you've already mentioned, but also the kind of big coffee table autobiography you brought out just a couple of years ago. I have a copy. I meant to bring it down with me.
Hey, what's up with Smoke and Mirrors? Is that on Shudder?
It is on Shudder.
Okay.
It's very, very soon to be released on DVD.
Good.
Cool.
Yay.
The artwork is done. The company is Mind's Eye. They're constantly it was coming out for Halloween, but it's going to be the beginning of the year, according to what they're telling me.
Speaking of art.
Say what?
Speaking of art, are you sitting in front of your paintings?
No, they're downstairs.
You should be showing off your paintings.
Well, I wonder if I can walk away with this phone, if it would stay connected. I don't know.
Right.
Or maybe I don't know. What do you think, David? Should we not risk losing connection?
I mean, as long as your Wi-Fi is good in the house, you should be able to go wherever.
Well, alrighty then.
Sure.
Well, while Tom's walking, I'll set the table for this, because actually all of this is Steph's fault.
Is it?
Yes. Steph went to our local hobby shop. This would be at the beginning of last year, I think. No,
it was well before.
Before that, I didn't get around to starting it until then. She went to our local hobby shop to get looking for some art supply stuff. And as a joke, she came back with a small paint by numbers of Da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper for me. Some of you we used to post pictures of my progress with it online. So I did that, and Tom got very interested. He kept asking me. He kept saying, "I want to see progress on your paint." So I take another photograph and send it to him. And then when we dined at the Wooden Nickel in May this year, Tom arrived with he had bought a paint by numbers of a raven, and he bought one for himself and one for me. So he gave me my raven, and we had our dinner, and we lunch, in fact, and we went away. There it is. I have one not unlike that, but it's a long way away up in the attic. I'm not going to run away and get it. But I am now about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through my second paint by numbers painting after the Raven. In that same period of time, Tom, you have painted
like 50?
How many of these?
There's a bunch here. There's a whole bunch here, yeah. But listen, you have to tell people, you can't just do the numbers. You have to have a flourish. You have to add a flourish.
I can't do that.
One of the latest ones here.
Wow.
Cool. Look at that. You see, I can't do that. You see, that's my point. I mean, you're already, look at that. Beautiful. I love that. It looks so great.
You like this one, Steph.
Yeah, that's cool. They're all cool.
They're all cool.
Okay, you're getting the whole gallery here.
Yeah. Look at them all.
Look. Sweet.
That's one side. Here's another side here.
You've done like
so. Come on, we have to do the gallery show.
You know how much you could sell these things for? You're sitting on a fucking gold mine there.
Yeah. I like this one a lot.
You like the undressed ladies, don't you?
Little plumber's crack.
Plumber's crack.
Now these are not paint by numbers. These are.
Well, you see, that's my point, because you actually are an artist. You actually can paint.
Well, I think that's what it takes to make these look good. You know.
Oh, that's probably why mine looks shit. Thank you very much. Because by logical extension,
he's
of
being
what
very
saying.
specific to his number sections.
I have to be. You see, I would love to be able to be a painter. I would like nothing better. You know, I think one of my ideals would be to live in the Pyrenees or in the middle of France somewhere, and you know, my days would consist of getting up and having a coffee and picking up my paints and my easel and heading out into the fields like a latter-day Van Gogh and sitting down and painting a landscape before heading home to go to my favorite little bistro for a bottle of red and a nice, you know,
an ideal life.
I mean, rabbit stew for dinner. But I can't do that. I mean, I can't draw to save my life, and you have that ability. That's part of the joy for me of paint by numbers is I can pretend I'm actually doing this shit when I can't. You can.
Well, the weirdest advertisement I see is for the paint by numbers. There's a girl on the beach and the paint by numbers is on her lap. I mean, it doesn't matter what she's looking at. It's a paint by number, you know. She's not painting the beach and the trees, you know, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, if I start trying to, you know, there was a point at which I remember you sent me a photograph of the progress on your Raven right at the beginning of it. You pretty much finished, and you just said, adding a few touches of my own. And I said to Steph, see, that's the difference. He can do that because he's a fucking artist like you are. But you see, Steph looks at the paint by numbers things and she shakes her head and says, I couldn't do that, couldn't go near that.
I couldn't.
The skull and flowers one that I'm doing at the moment,
if it gives you hope,
there's so much fucking detail in it.
There is a point where you just give up, you look at what it's supposed to be and just paint, just flourish.
Well, you see, then you're painting, you see, this is where I bet there's probably a paint by numbers community on YouTube.
I bet there is. It's probably brutal too.
This is where you'd be in trouble because you're not painting by numbers.
Yeah,
you're
get in trouble.
I'm doing major flourishes because it looks like crap if you just follow the numbers.
You see?
I don't know.
You see how he's just kicked me to the curb, thrown me under the bus.
No, but it's true. I've strictly stuck to the numbers on a couple of them.
I'm very tempted to go up to the attic and get my Raven to ask the people to decide whether it looks like crap.
It needs blending. It needs a flourish. It needs, a different color. And sometimes
I disagree, you know, because part of the thing I think about for me, the joy and the magic of watching it come together is that it's like stained glass windows. It's like a mosaic. It precisely is a bit of color here and a bit of color there and a bit of color there, that, you know, which, like with this one I've been doing, you're so close up to it. You can't see what you're doing, and then I've stepped back and gone, fuck me,
absolutely.
Have you pictures? Have you texted him? The one he's working on now is crazy. The spaces are so microscopic, it would drive me insane.
I paint with a magnifying glass sometimes.
Don't you have the headgear? Didn't you
buy
the
headgear too? I pull the headgear down, the magnifier.
Like dentists.
Yeah. But it's so true. It's so true. You're so close to it, and you're just filling in these gaps. And the next morning you come, like especially on Maryland. The next morning I come down and said, "Oh my God, it's Maryland." Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it while I was painting it. You know, I didn't see it while I was painting it.
I have to take my lenses out so that I can be that close too.
But if you're an experienced painter, you know, and I've done many, many paintings before the paint by number things. If you're an experienced painter, you know that you can take a very thin wash of black and recess something. Like if something is too close, teeth are too prominent on a skull, I can do a black wash over that and recess it. The same thing is true of the ballet dancer that I have down there. It was too vibrant, so I did washes of white. So I buried her under a condensation. I mean, she's still there. It's just a wash. That doesn't mean it's a opaque color. It's like water with a slight hint of the color in it. And you do many layers of that. So that experience allowed me to take some of these paint by numbers and make them look more professional.
If I tried to do that, it would look stupid. It would really look stupid.
Start yelling.
Right, that's it. I'm going to go and get the painting I'm currently working on.
Okay.
I can't take this abuse much longer. You talk to Tom and the people. I'll be down in a moment.
Nothing to say. No. But that should be the next show,
What?
You come over here and you guys paint and you share techniques.
Oh, how exciting would that
do this thing where there are companies where you send them a photograph and they'll turn it into a paint by numbers. So we can you can paint me and I'll paint you.
Well, I'm getting up, so I'm letting you by.
Okay.
You end up tripping and falling over shit.
How about a question? So they must be dying to ask a question out there.
Question. Why did Tom use a heart monitor on Day of the Dead?
A heart? That wasn't me. Everybody thinks that's me. It was Tony Boob. Why did everybody ask me?
I don't know what they're talking about. What is it?
It's a blood pressure machine in the mall. A guy with a sombrero. It was Tony Booba. That's not me.
Don't remember that. You mean the defibrillators?
Understand it.
The defibrillators they have in the mall?
No, you put your arm through it and it raises your blood.
The old school blood pressure cuffs.
Yeah, it was Tony Booba with a sombrero on. He did it. It was not me.
So it was in the movie?
Yeah.
I remember that. I was just in Monroeville Mall yesterday and said hello to George's statue. Why don't they have his glasses on him on that statue?
They do have his glasses on the Pioneer Award, which is another bronze sculpture of George.
In the mall?
No. They're giving it away. There's notices of it on Facebook and Instagram. They're giving it away to Richard Ricci, who passed away recently. It's heavy. It's $800 worth of bronze.
Wow.
With George Romero wearing glasses.
Right. Yeah, I find it odd. I mean, obviously it's George, but it's not fully George.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
I watched you guys do the makeup test for the Hellraiser experience thing a few years ago. Tom, you like my tweet?
What was it? What was the tweet?
I don't know. What was your tweet? Why can't Second Sight release the Dawn box set in North America? Do you know that?
No, I don't know why Dawn of the Dead isn't even on any streaming service.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Weird realities, no doubt.
No idea.
I hear Doug running back downstairs. Don't trip.
Everybody has got to post that it's brilliant, that it's wonderful, that this is the greatest painting since Monet and Degas.
It is pretty impressive. I know I could do it. I'd go crazy.
Okay.
I tried to fill in those little sections. And I don't think I'm skilled with realism enough to sort of fudge it successfully. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's your raven.
Yes. I brought my entire herb.
Oh my God. So yeah, come over. We'll set up the easels.
I can't imagine something more boring for an audience on Zoom to watch somebody do a paint by number.
Watching paint.
Believe me, the people really want to watch you guys do that if the chat.
Yeah. See, that's what I said to Doug. I said, you have to think of it as a fan. You have to, you're not able to put yourself in the view of a fan. Because if I think about my favorite actors, if Anthony Hopkins were going to do a paint by numbers, I would be there front and center for that.
Knock the ring down a bit.
Okay.
So this is the painting that started it all. This is
the last chapter, right?
This is the one that
closer to the camera,
brought back from the hobby shop.
Much closer.
That latest too. There we go. Can you see that?
Well, that's pretty damn good, I'd say.
I don't think it's completely finished.
It's been a long time.
Yes. And this is my crap raven because there are no flourishes on it. It's just painted by numbers.
That's not crap.
Well, it is according to Tom.
It almost looks
like
like
a lot more white and light and stuff in there.
You got to come closer to the camera with that. It's way too far back.
See, let's talk about
well, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to put that on a canvas frame.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. I could see it good there.
You know, a stretched frame, not a glass and decorative thing, just wood.
A wood
frame.
Know. Yes.
I'm lucky that right across the street is box.
Someone said the horror Bob Ross's.
And this is the
current one
I'm working on.
I'm very close to the camera.
Oh, we can't get real close. That's on a big, heavy. You're gonna knock shit over.
You'll
well, go over the lights and bring it down in front. Yeah. I'm getting a huge glare off it, just tilted slightly. Well, that's spectacular. Look at that. That's I'm eating my words. You're following strictly the numbers, and it looks terrific.
You see, I like those pink flowers. That specifically was what I was talking about. Where I'm and then you stand back from it and you go, oh fuck, that flower's
right.
You can see the skull, starting to form.
And I love the little bird that appears here too.
Okay.
Have to come.
I'll take your word for it. It's so far away.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, throw your bids out. No, just kidding.
But it's done big, this one too.
It is. It's very hyper detailed.
You do quite a lot of smaller ones, don't you?
Can't find any anymore that are as big as the Raven or the Rembrandt.
Michael's has a whole section of paint by numbers now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I got to go there. Big ones?
Yeah. I think they're pretty decently sized.
Okay.
I'll pick a few up next time.
You need to slow down. I won't be able to find a fucking paint by numbers painting anywhere.
Well, I've
already done.
I'll pick up a few and bring them to the next.
I'm going to go myself. I want to see what they have because you order them. It takes weeks to get them.
Yeah. You said some of them show up with dry pots of paint.
Only one.
How you managed to do them so fucking quickly? It takes a lot of time.
Well, I try to do them in like 2 days.
Jesus Christ! But do you piss during those 2 days or eat or?
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning.
8 minutes past 6 to be precise.
Well, I have gotten 3 a.m. texts from Tom and his
yes, I had one recently, 3 a.m. text.
Must have been pissing, right?
Well, you don't have to text when you piss, it's not it's not a federal requirement.
But it has become an obsession, right? I mean, you are like yeah.
Because I have to send it right away or I might forget it when I wake up,
we enjoy them. I enjoy them.
They're wonderful. They're wonderful, yes. And it's just amazing that you do them so fast. Because it takes a lot of time. I mean, I'll sit there doing, working on picking out numbers in a small area. I said, fuck, I've been here an hour, and I have to go and do something else, and that's an hour, and it's just this one tiny little bit here. The number of hours that go into these things is huge. I have no idea how you do them so quickly. I go gauze-eyed as well, and my brain freezes over. I can't do it for long stretches.
Well, I'll go across the top and do the one number, and then I'll do another number. Every space that has that number, I'll do it with the same, the same color. So I'll do that so that when I'm lower, my hand isn't in paint something I painted. Yes. And I usually go from left to right.
That mistake early on, right?
Yeah, painting yourself in a corner. Yeah.
Do you listen to anything while you paint?
No, I don't. I really should.
Oh.
Hartman showed me how to bring up Pandora on my computer, which is down there, and I can listen to anything. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm just in silence.
Oh wow!
Get Spotify. Yeah. It's better than Pandora.
What are you listening to while you're painting?
Spotify, the radio. Also, I discovered Calm Radio, which is a godsend to me because when I get up in the night to pee, which I do also, I wish to stress to our adoring multitude watching us that both Tom and I have perfectly normal, perfectly well-functioning prostates. We just happen to get up to pee during the night.
I don't know anything about Tom's prostate.
I don't want to know anything about it. As far as I know, there's
if you're listening to music, I did a movie where we had to make up Will Wheaton as kind of a multi-piece together kind of Frankenstein creation, and the makeup took 3 hours. One day he walked in with his boombox and put techno on. The makeup took an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about listening to techno while I'm painting, or I'm just going to go crazy.
So that wasn't because you were doing it quickly so you could get it the fuck over and turn the music off. It's because you were all now running at 130 beats per minute. And
exactly.
This is the opposite direction, because part of the problem I have, I get up in the night, I almost have to play a game with myself, because if I'm awake and conscious too long, I'm done. I'm not going back to sleep, which is a problem at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. I discovered Calm Radio, and in particular Gregorian Chants, which have become now my
I know what they are. Sure, I know what they are.
New favorite thing. So I decide which ear I'm going to sleep on, either left or right, and then I put an AirPod in the other ear, and let the monks go very quietly in one ear, and that will send me off to sleep. So I frequently then wake up about 7 o'clock or so with a monk living in my ear, and so I've developed a new routine now, which is I put the other AirPod in and I go straight from my bed straight to my painting.
Oh,
it's like a kind of devotional thing with the monks still chanting in my ears. It's such a beautiful sound. It's either monks.
It sounds like a beautiful experience. Yeah. So also, depending on the painting you're working on too.
Well, I suppose, but it helps because it gives you that kind of calm,
right.
Don't do anything dramatic, just,
Well, if
I mean, I know you also said to me early on, well, you don't obey the lines, do you? You have a general idea of what color this needs to be over here. And I'm saying, no, you're absolutely right. Thinking, Jesus, again, if I tried to do that, it would all fall apart in a heartbeat. It's either monks or shakuhachi, which is traditional Japanese flute music, which is very, very peaceful, very calm.
I like that. But I discovered this thing, like I've been having dreams that take all night on a movie set or something. And some of them have, I think of them later, they have deep psychological meaning, according to what's going on in my life at the time when I was a kid, But I discovered this thing. I ordered it. It cost $200. You breathe into it until 3 lights go on, and then you inhale. It has a slight taste to it, but I'm unconscious within 10 minutes, and the dreams are the most beautiful compared to before using it, And if I do wake up
only once you do it, just free.
No. If I'll be out till my 3 o'clock appointment with the toilet, And then, but when I come back, really, I would be up from that point on if I didn't do it again. Right. I mean, I was doing Z-Quil. Those dreams are fucked up. If you take Z-Quil, oh my God, you're asking to have nightmares. Boy, oh boy. But it's a calming device.
Well, it teaches you the breathing, the breathing techniques, right? Yeah, it's what I count. I do this breath thing, and it absolutely puts me out. I'm like, okay, ready to go to bed now, and I do that a few times, and I'm out.
Breathe into 4, hold it for 4, breathe out to 4, hold it for 4.
But as soon as you start concentrating on your breathing, you're shutting off your mind and thoughts.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what works. But this thing is advertised as an anti-anxiety calming Okay. Boy, it really, I'm gone in 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I use the same thing if I start getting very anxious or something. Upset or anxious, my heart will start pounding, and you do this. It's breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. And
But
it absolutely calms my heart down. Yeah. And
you're shutting it off.
Right out.
That's a long exhale. That's a well-controlled exhale over 8 seconds.
Yep. But it works. Absolutely works. And since I've had this this watch, I can see times where I get
what your heart rate is.
Where I get very upset and my heart rate's up here, and I do the breathing, and it brings it back down. And yeah, I think I've seen what you're talking about. Almost like a whistle. Almost.
I brought some props here. This is the dick gun from Dusk Till Dawn.
What's that got to do?
Is that the actual one?
You just want to show off your dick. It's got nothing to do with going to sleep.
So is that a copy, or is that
the actual one?
This is the actual one, yes.
Wow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
It took four guys to make it do that and shoot. I thought the fans might like that. And I couldn't find my Mannlicher Carcano. I'll be showing you that.
I hope you called them your fluffers. The 4 guys who got you up. So
that was funny because on the first take, this came up and this fell off.
I hate when that happens, right?
Yeah.
Not fault. Yeah.
So is it just like laying around your house?
How do you lose a rifle?
Special place in the closet.
Yeah, how do you lose a rifle?
Especially that one.
I called Cartman right away because the last time I was on a firing range with him and my grandson, and it wouldn't fire for one thing.
Oh.
So I don't know. It might be in the studio, but whatever. I took stuff out of the car quickly, and it could be back there. I didn't look back there. I looked in my gun cabinet and on the back porch. But there's a shotgun there that we used, but not the Mannlicher Carcano. The thing is a piece of shit. I can't believe they want you to believe he fired from a 6th floor window through a tree. That's what I was going to do. I was going to cock it and show you, count to 6. You can't possibly do it in 6 seconds and aim, anyway. Don't get me going.
Well, they couldn't even do it 3 times just to fire it, reload it, fire it, reload it, fire it, let alone reload it and find your aim again on a moving target at an impossible angle from a distance.
It's impossible.
Be that accurate every time.
Can't, no.
When he himself was, per his Marine record, a lousy marksman.
Yeah.
Look, the next time Cyril does a speaking engagement, we need to go. Because
well, he goes off on tangents, though.
Yeah,
so much fun,
he talks.
He's wonderful. And that was fascinating. Listen to that. Did you tell Tom about the book you just ordered, or that you're reading now? I'm sure you probably did.
Well, right? that's Cause of Death, which is
that's the multiple cases.
Cyril's book, right. Which is talks about JFK. And of course, the thing that he stresses is he absolutely believed after the assassination that Oswald was the lone gunman, and he accepted the findings of the Warren Commission. He absolutely accepted that. It was only when he went to look at the records in the archive that he began to think, this autopsy makes no sense. This autopsy makes no sense. This isn't right. This isn't done right. Why? This is, as you said, this is the most important autopsy in American history, and it's completely bungled. Why? And where is the brain? And
well, as soon as the first person saw the first frame of the Zapruder footage, we all knew that it was not Oswald up in a building. It came from the...
When it was first broadcast, the Zapruder film on Geraldo?
Geraldo, yeah.
You saw it on that first viewing? Yeah, right.
See, Tom, somebody's asking if you're selling your artwork.
There you go. You're paint by numbers.
Not yet. I kind of like them, keeping them around.
$20,000 a pop, ladies and gentlemen. I am now self-appointed as Tom's art agent.
Somebody offered me somebody offered me $800 for the Raven, and I said no, that's not quite what I had in mind. And then they saw the billboard. You know, I'm on a big billboard all over
the Warhol.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they think I have an exhibit at the Warhol, and they apologized for offering so little.
I'm a Warhol modern artist.
God, so good. Hey, so The Black Phone, is that it? The movie that's coming out?
Yes.
And you did the mask for it?
I designed it, yeah. There's 3 of them. Well, I'm not allowed to talk about too much, but I can repeat what they're saying.
Right.
They're telling you that I designed the mask, and Cartman and his Colosseum Studios built them. And the mask is featured prominently on the poster, you know, so one of the masks. So yeah, it opens February 4th. They're telling us now that the premiere might be in New York, so we're going to certainly go up there for that.
Cool.
Any other happenings, projects?
Well, the new video game
that you're not allowed to talk about.
Not allowed to talk about it. Yeah, it's not technical.
Talk about it.
Let's talk about the things we're not allowed to talk about.
The Kennedy assassination. Yeah. Anyway.
So when are we doing French?
Oh, Jody and I went to Poulet Bleu last night.
I like that.
Because we need to keep up our momentum now.
Yeah.
Yes, we should. And you know, here's the deal. Jody could not get us a reservation at Poulet Bleu. They're booked until like February 8th or something.
Poulet Bleu is blue chicken. I don't want to eat blue. What the fuck is blue chicken about?
The food was spectacular. But listen, we couldn't get in.
I like that Paris 6.
Called Jeremy Raymer.
Oh.
Next day, 5 o'clock, 2 seats for us. He's best friends with the owner down there. So at any given time, if we 4 of us want to go there, it's simply a matter of calling because the owner is a fan now. Okay. Great. So the next one will be French, and it's your dime.
That other one we went to was good as well.
Yeah, we can always go.
66 was that called? That was really good.
Bistro 66.
Bistro 66.
Yeah.
Does Tom believe in aliens?
Oh,
I don't think we've ever talked about aliens.
I don't know that we have really.
Talked about a lot
of other planets or other dimensions.
Is there a difference?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go into this too much, but I think I've told you that I think the universe is the molecular structure of something so big it's non-conceptualizable. Okay, so something like that. I mean, yeah, I believe there's other life out there. Sure.
It would be absurd to think otherwise, but there's no reason why that life out there should be anything that we would recognize. Is that? Well,
and the proof of that there is intelligent life out there is they're not trying to contact us.
Brian Regan. It's a Brian Regan sketch, right?
Yes. Brian Regan, the getting off the spaceship on the planet and finding the aliens who are kind of redneck morons.
Yeah.
Hello.
You should have a hat like this.
Yeah, there you go. And then you have to cross your eyes.
Yes.
And they're on the radio back to NASA or wherever saying, no, nothing to see here, NASA. We're moving on to the next planet. Nothing here.
No signs of
intelligent life here. But for billions of years on this planet, there was life, but it was weird things. I've just been reading about this in a little book, which is basically a condensed history of the planet. And there were bizarre creatures that had 5 eyes and long kind of proboscis noses that had a kind of claw on the end of it. You know, it's life, but we wouldn't want to, you know, land on a planet and be
full of them.
Be confronted by an army of them.
If they land near Australia, they're going to be near the most deadliest animals that exist. You know,
everything there is trying to kill you.
That's right. So if aliens did land there, good luck. I mean, they would be as afraid of as people.
Sorry, Lena, are you still with us?
Yeah, I believe in aliens.
Florida is the same. Everything in Florida is trying to kill you,
including the people.
Very definitely including the people.
Yeah.
I love you, Florida.
No, Tom has never gone ghost hunting with us.
No.
Have you? You've never gone ghost hunting with us?
No, because you know why? Those paranormal activity shows, every show, the climax is, what was that?
Do you hear that?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
What was that?
No, it is fun. It's just fun
Every
walking
show
around
is
abandoned places.
That's the fun of it, is being in somewhere. Have you ever been to Allegheny Lunatic Asylum?
No.
Oh, you really should. It's an amazing experience by daylight, let alone in the wee small hours.
Hey, were we together when we walked into that abandoned hotel in Menneson?
With a giant pile of bird poop.
Bird flew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of us.
Yes. There's a mountain of bird crap in the one
upstairs in the rooms. Yeah.
Is that place still standing?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very cool.
That must have been a pretty impressive building too, by the looks of it, back in the day.
Remember the big bar that was right in the hall?
Yeah, that was very cool. Didn't you say somebody filmed a part of a movie in there or something?
RoboCop is not in the hotel, but in Menneson.
Oh, RoboCop was filmed in Menneson?
Yeah.
Across the street in the Coke factory with that big tower that flames come out of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't something shot in the hotel though? A scene for something?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Just imagining that.
I should imagine many things have been shot in that hotel.
Somebody said people in bath salts in Florida.
Everybody needs to play Florida Man or Florida Woman game.
Didn't we do that at dinner one time?
Did we do that with Tom? I can't remember.
I don't think so. No.
You basically put your birthday, just date and month, into Google
and Florida Man
or Florida Woman, and see what comes up, and that's your Florida Man. My Florida Man answered the door to police stark naked to explain. The police had been called because he'd set his kitchen on fire, and it was quite spectacular. Apparently, he was stark naked and explained that he had set fire to his kitchen making cookies.
Weren't they weed cookies?
But were they? I don't
so.
know that was specified, but there was no real explanation as to why he was cooking stark naked. So you just put your birthday in and Florida Man or Florida Woman.
Mine was man kills neighbor with a machete named Kindness, which is quite wonderful. I mean, not the fact that somebody died, but they had a machete named Kindness.
Kindness, which was not being very kind.
Robert Mitchum with Shelley Winters.
Night of the Hunter.
Yeah, didn't he have a name for his gun?
You should know that, shouldn't you?
I should. I don't remember that. He has the love and hate on the.
Right.
Uses
that the name for his car. I thought I had heard that before.
Or can you join the paranormal fun? Oh, well, that's not something we do. Right.
No, but we're talking about seeing if we can make the technology work to do a live show from Trans Allegheny.
You should come.
Maybe do one during the day as a walkthrough kind of thing with.
I think it would only be important if you could walk through it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, and then go back at like midnight when there's.
That wasn't called the Western Penitentiary at one time, was it?
No, that's.
I still have never been there.
That's outside Philadelphia, isn't it? Western Penitentiary.
No.
That's Eastern.
It's on the bike trail. It's on the bike trail here.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. No, it's actually in West Virginia.
Yeah, it's only about 2 hours away.
Yeah.
About 2:15, I guess, away.
Well, somebody should turn it into a haunted attraction.
Well, they do. Every October they turn the old tuberculosis building, which is part of the
isolation building.
There are several buildings on the property. There's like 9 acres worth of buildings, basically floor space, and they turn the TB building into an actual, like a haunted attraction. But the rest of it is partially restored, and part of it they left sort of crumbling and.
That was one year where I was a guest at the haunted attraction, and then when that was all over, we went over to the main asylum to lead groups through on a ghost hunt through the night.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah, someone mentioned Waverly Hills. We've been there, which is in Kentucky. It was a tuberculosis building as well.
And Rolling Hills.
Rolling Hills cool. Was another asylum.
New York?
New York, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool places.
Yes.
Well, guys.
Strange experiences in all these places.
Do we want to start wrapping up for the evening?
One more question.
Go ahead.
No, from the group.
Oh,
I see. Have a question?
What we got?
I keep the chat's going very quick. I have a hard time keeping up.
Good.
But thank you to everyone who gifted subs so far. Sorry there's no giveaway.
Oh, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida on my birthday.
On your birthday? Oh, on this person's birthday?
Says in the chat.
Which was wasn't that in January? For some reason, I have a specific memory of being in school in the hallway. It was like a Tuesday or something. Was it 89? I think somebody helped me out here.
In the movie of Ted Bundy, I was the interrogating detective, and Tiffany Shepis was the one woman who escaped from him in this movie.
Isn't there like a million of them?
Ted Bundy, there's a couple, yeah.
Yeah, there's a number.
What was yours called?
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, see, someone said it's January of 89. Yep, I remember that.
Lena Lovecraft is still with us, down under. Tom, if you could have done effects on any movie or TV series ever, which one would you choose? Those are impossible questions, aren't they?
Yeah, really. I was going to do Pet Cemetery, but lost that one. So that would have been cool.
The original?
Yeah. Actually, I was supposed to direct it. I think Richard Rubenstein produced it, I understand, which is probably why I was associated with it. So Pet Cemetery, but God, there's so many effects movies out there.
You like to have directed more?
Pardon me?
Would you like to have directed more?
Yeah. There's been a few. I still have my script of The Most Dangerous Game, but now I read that Tom Berenger is and some other actor, they're doing a remake of The Most Dangerous Game. I was concerned that it might be my script because one of the actors involved in it, we were friends a long time ago, and I might have given him the script. But so far, what I've read, it has nothing. It's not like mine. Mine was a period piece. The stunt guy, it was a stunt man who went off on the adventure, which means he could take care of himself in such a situation. So it was pretty. It was a bold adventure. But anyway, that one, I'd love to do that one.
I know a few people were asking about your stunt work, and any favorite stunts.
Yeah, I got hit by a car 7 months ago on my bicycle.
Not intentional.
Oh God.
That was a stunt out of the blue. Yeah, so didn't get paid for that. What?
I was driving when that text came through, and all I see.
It wasn't just a text, ladies and gentlemen. He sent fucking photographs
of you in a hospital bed with a neck brace.
No, I was in the ambulance.
All over the damn place, surrounded by machines. Hi, I'm in hospital. I'm fine.
Like, what the fuck?
I got hit by a car. I'm 74. I just got hit by a car on a bicycle.
Jesus. And you broke the windshield with your head.
My head broke the windshield. But what was the question?
I don't know. See, that's because of your car accident. Stunts. Favorite stunts.
Yes.
Favorite stunts. Well, it's kind of hard to top, going off the balcony at Monroeville.
How about intentional stunts?
That's what I'm saying. It was going over the balcony at the Monroeville Mall into the fountain and Dawn of the Dead.
Right. Yes. Cardboard boxes.
Driving a motorcycle through a storefront window. Both were Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
How long was the filming in Monroeville Mall? 2
months.
Really? Wow.
We had to take a break during December because of all the Christmas decorations that went up.
Now, did you guys film after hours, or did they close it down?
Night till 7 in the morning.
Right. Wow.
We had to stop at 7 a.m. because the music would come on, and nobody knew how to
stop
it.
Like it came out of some central headquarters in Arizona or something. Nobody knew how to turn the music off.
Were there mall walkers back then?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, senior citizens.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. They
Some
show up at the mall like right as it opens and walk and start to. You don't know about that?
No.
Oh yeah, mall walkers.
What?
These old people
senior
show up,
citizen.
They take that shit very serious.
Yeah, they fling their jackets over the railings and they just fucking walk and they just do laps.
Senior citizens having exercise. In fact, on one occasion, there were 300 zombies working toward a corner, and here come the mall walkers, senior citizens, and they meet. Okay, we hired
filming it.
Zombies.
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, I've worked at several malls, and it's a very serious thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never see them get to the mall though, which is always surprising.
Yeah, they just show up. They're just there.
They just spawn.
No one saw them come, and no one saw them leave.
No, but they mean business. They are like
do not get in their way.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Does that still happen?
It
Can
does.
I go and watch this?
Absolutely. You can become one if you'd like.
I could. I'm old enough.
You can infiltrate the mall walking world.
Do you think there's a mall walking YouTube community?
There's probably something about the community
well, there's your next movie, Mall Walkers.
There's probably some sort of dramatics, like Gertrude and Ethel like bumped into each other in the same lane or something, and
well, there must be a pecking order of who has to lead.
Who gets like the inside track? Gets the outside.
Yeah, whether you take the stairs or the escalator.
Yeah, I
or
bet.
Even worse, the elevator.
I bet.
No, that'll slow them down too much.
Yeah.
And when they start to lose their mind as they get very old, they take the escalator the wrong way and get very confused.
It's get nowhere.
Escalator's very slow this morning.
Well, that's an interesting question.
I was when I started.
What does Tom think of the Pinhead character?
Well, I'll never lie to you. When I first saw that movie, I made fun of it. It didn't make sense to me. I said, what, a guy opens a box and people walk through the walls? It didn't make sense to me. But I have come to appreciate Pinhead very much since then. We had this conversation at dinner where, as opposed to all these other serial killers who are just blatant, run after you and kill you, you're somebody who would actually talk to the victim. You would have a conversation with the victim.
Yeah, and point I always make as well is, he's not hiding behind corners waiting to jump you and attack you with a machete or a chainsaw or whatever. There's a long process that has to go on here, because the individual has to become aware of the existence of a thing called element configuration, and be interested enough to want to track one of these things down and go through the negotiating thing, because it's not just a question of buying it. There's always that negotiation where you're asked, what's it worth to you? So you have to obtain the thing, then work out how to solve it. And it's only then will you be confronted by Pinhead, presumably. I never knew, I still don't really, whether opening the lament configuration automatically meant that you would be confronted by Pinhead, or whether there were, other Cenobites on duty who might answer the call at Cenobite Central, Well,
I love
Joe. Some bozo in Pittsburgh has just opened another lament configuration. Are you going to take this? Are we giving this to Pinhead again?
But you looked like pain. As a monster, you just looked like pain with your skin and the hooks and stuff. It was uncomfortable to look at you. So you had an effect on people.
What I always said about that was it's an implied threat. It kind of says, look what I did to myself, or look what was done to me that I carry with me. Now imagine what I could do to you.
Yeah.
On that note, see, somebody's already asking if you're going to be a guest again. Next time you should come here.
Where? On this show?
Yeah.
Never again. Jesus Christ.
You guys have great
blood out of a stone trying to keep this conversation going.
You guys have great chemistry. Must be because you're really friends.
Aww.
Aww.
Yeah. It's a love story.
It's weird how all that happened, huh?
We eat food in the same room together often.
We do. Well, I mean, you were wondering about. I can't remember when we first met. We'd just be ships bumping in the night at conventions. I would have thought in the early 90s somewhere.
I could not tell you. I have no memory or idea when we first met.
And we've just sort of, said hail and farewell, and we've eaten dinner together in various hotels at conventions together.
I remember it had to be at a convention. I remember being at some convention in Baltimore. Greg Nicotero and I were playing tennis, and you narrated it like it was Wimbledon.
It wasn't Greg, it was Bill Mosley. Yeah, it was horrifying. You and Mosley were playing tennis, and I came down and I think I umpired it for a while.
You did a lovely
an umpire voice. 30-15 game. Savini. Mosley leads by 2-1 in the first set.
So we were doing
balls, please.
Time ago.
Yes, that must be a long time ago. Again, late 90s or early noughties, I would think.
I don't know, but we've done Schiller together. I mean, we've been guests many times.
Yes.
At the show.
Lots of shows. I mean, lots of dinners together. And we did a panel together, I remember, which I think was at Dragon Con, which plans were laid to do a remake of A Man of 1,000 Faces, the Lon Chaney biopic. I was going to play Lon, and you were going to direct it.
Yeah, Richard Rubenstein was involved with that.
Right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah. For PBS.
I remember us doing a panel together. But I mean, that's it, really. And then obviously, I came to live permanently in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
7-8 years ago.
That made it easier. Yeah,
it kind of, yes. It's just a 40-minute drive rather than 3,000 miles.
Yes. Shorter when there's no traffic, which there usually is. But
we did a show at Alley Pally. Oh, no. You lived nearby to Alley Pally. We were doing the IMAX makeup show, and we called you to come have dinner with us.
We're in a shitty little hotel in Muswell Hill.
Yeah. It really was a shitty little hotel, man.
I felt very sorry for you and very embarrassed. I always feel embarrassed for Americans. English hotels uniformly suck. They just suck. We cannot do it. We cannot do it. And I know American hotels have their problems sometimes, but for the most part, they're beautifully functioning things. American hotels, you can by and large get what you want when you need it, room service, and English hotels, Jesus, no.
They're very small. The hotel rooms
and the beds are very small.
English hotels, breakfast. There's no breakfast.
Breakfast. Well, I don't know. See what we can do. No, 2 of the worst hotels I ever stayed in were both in Blackpool.
Oh.
I used to do shows in Blackpool with lots of Star Wars actors in the 90s, and the one of them was just, it's a long story. I can't tell it now, but what's it called? The Norbreck Castle Hotel, and you're driving up to it. You think, Jesus, this actually does look like some kind of a castle, or wait a minute, it looks like a prison. And you check in, you go up to your room, and I'm not kidding that I opened the door, which hit the wall, and you step in through the door, and the bed, single bed, is there, and on the other side of the single bed is a wall. And down at the far end of this narrow room, there's a small window. And I looked at this and I thought, this is a fucking prison cell.
Oh shit. Is that right?
And that's exactly what it was. One of the American actors stood in the, it's a bathtub with a shower curtain around it, shower deal. stood in the bathtub and his feet went straight through the bottom of it.
Nice.
Yeah, not a great place.
We're not doing transportation to. But London closed down again, didn't it, from Omicron?
It's out of control there. The R number, which
highest
is
numbers ever,
which is the rate of infection number. So if it's 1, it means if on average, if I've got it, I'm going to infect one other person. They're talking about an infection rate of 3 to 5 with Omicron at the moment.
Wow.
And it's but the thing with Omicron, as far as I can tell, is that by and large, and especially if you're vaccinated and boosted, people are getting mild symptoms.
Yeah.
They're not getting seriously ill and not being hospitalized with it. So it seems to be massively more infectious. I was reading in The Guardian, which is a UK newspaper, studies saying that in the bronchial tubes, it replicates. It's brilliant at replicating itself as well, apparently. It replicates 70 times faster in the bronchial tubes than either the Delta variant or the original virus. But in the lungs, it's 10 times slower, which seems to be the reason why it's extremely infectious. It's not making people as sick as either Delta or the original virus.
I don't want any of it.
Preferably not. No.
Try very hard not to think of it every day.
Yes.
No. Anywho, so it's 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And we could probably talk for another few more hours.
I'm sure we could.
Yes, definitely.
Well, anytime you would be willing to join us again, you will always be welcome.
Yes.
Anytime. The key word is anytime you like.
Let's eat again.
Let us eat in the same room again.
Yeah, we have to keep up the momentum.
Well, that's another thing to do. Sure. We should do this show from a restaurant.
Just different restaurants. We'll just go eat.
Yes.
Yeah, watch
food reviews.
Yeah.
Like
let's just by number
that eating comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yes. Horror actors in restaurants eating food.
Start that.
The same horror actors. Yeah. Oh, who did?
No, I say let's start that.
Let's start the horror actors in restaurants eating food.
Let's do it.
All right.
We'll have to wait till the other side of a pandemic.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we'll do this. The same 2 horror actors eating food in a different restaurant.
Sounds good. Well, thanks to everyone who gave gifted subs.
Okay.
If we don't have those, they'll shut us down.
How are we doing, David?
Weird.
You've been remarkably silent all evening.
It's good.
Just letting you guys have your conversation.
Yeah.
I was listening. There's so many good stories and so much stuff that I couldn't even fathom.
Can't tell.
Right.
Those are the good ones. But well, thanks, Tom, for hanging out.
Yes. Thank you very much for giving your time. It's been an absolute joy as always.
Yes.
And
nobody, man.
Nobody requested Camelot. Let's do it.
Why don't we
Let's do
the show with that?
Oh, no. Fucking serious?
Go ahead. Someone has to start it.
I know what my people are thinking.
Looking tonight. Home through the shadows they wander. Everyone's smiling.
Delight. They stare at the castle.
And ponder.
Whenever the wind blows this way,
you can almost hear everyone say, bum,
bum, bum, bum, bum, bum, bum. I wonder what the
king is doing tonight. What merriment is the king pursuing tonight?
And we're out of sync.
So bright.
We're out of sync.
What the king?
You're out of sync.
We can't do it in real time because I have a delay, don't I?
You're kidding. Because I'm here.
You have like a quarter of a second delay between both of you.
Oh,
yeah, so it's making it impossible.
For next time, is there a way to turn that off?
Can you sync us for next time so we can do it?
We've never actually recorded it, although I think there is.
No, Cartman got it on film.
Oh, yeah, you guys were sitting in the back of a car in a movie.
Oh yeah,
broke into song.
Just send that clip and I'll just play it on screen.
And we did it in the concession stand of a drive-in. And the first time we did it was at a Red Lobster.
I am witness to that.
Yes.
You've done it
We
many
got applause.
places.
We got applause from the customers. and Red Lobster.
Right, there you go.
Restaurants,
and
conventions.
The next party trick that
oh, where did he hung up?
And with that, he was gone.
What the hell is that?
Oh, now he's back.
Now you see, I don't know what. Hey, what button should I press to come back? What icon should I press?
David,
there should be one for a camera.
We made it this far, to be honest.
It's not Facebook. What would it be?
You should have a little camera icon down at the bottom that should say like start or stop video.
Leave the screen. Now we're off the screen.
You guys are you're off centered on the crop, so I just removed them both until Tom pops back on.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, the camera. Marty said, choose the camera. Okay, I just chose the camera. Nothing happened. Let's see.
Yes.
Marty's saying choose the camera. Hang on. Let me find the camera.
Choose the camera. Go to the camera.
Oh. Okay, the camera is now on me.
Okay.
Are you seeing this?
No.
Nope.
All right.
I am really surprised you made it this long.
The new party trick that I'm trying to persuade Tom that we should work on is reciting the Raven together.
One word at a time.
One word at a time.
Well, being out of sync is not going to make that happen.
No, well, there'll be
in person.
A little bit of a gap.
In-person performance.
To do that here until we.
I thought we might try that tonight.
Be here long, 2 more hours.
I'd need the text. I can't remember the whole damn thing.
Oh, okay.
I know you have instant recall. You used to recite the Raven to yourself to fall asleep, didn't you?
Sometimes, yeah. And you know what's weird about that is all of a sudden I'm saying things that have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. That's how you know.
And I realize I must be going to sleep, right?
Falling asleep.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Well.
All right.
I guess
on that note, tasty bagels.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
You're very welcome.
Good night, Tom.
Bye now.
Love to Jody.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody.
I don't know how to hang up.
David will hang up. Hang up, David. Bye.
Yeah, I don't hang him up, David.
All right.
I can't hang up.
Peace and pain, everybody.
We'll see you when we see you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, this will be the last show before Christmas.
Yeah.
We'll be back in the new year.
Keep you updated.
So, if you celebrate any kind of a festival over the next couple of weeks, have fun doing it.
Happy that occasion.
If you don't, have fun not doing that. Remember to acknowledge the solstice on the 21st, the reason for the season, the winter solstice, the Sol Invictus. Remember that.
Happy birthday, Jesus.
Happy birthday, Jesus. And we will be back at some point in 2022. In the meantime, peace and pain.